This video is brought to you by Sony Music Entertainment Japan's blatant disregard for fair use. Hey everyone, we're on the verge of starting the second core of Sword Art Online Alicization anime, and last week we received a brand new trailer for the new content, pretty much all of it from the next 3 to 4 episodes at most, similar to the first core trailer we got right before the beginning of the anime. The new trailer features a preview for the new opening as well, and you can watch it and listen to it through the Facebook link in the description. But in this video I'll be providing some context as to what you're seeing in the trailer to hopefully get you a little bit more hyped about the upcoming episodes. Much like my previous trailer explained videos, I won't be going too deep into the story implications. As mentioned, I'll only provide little context to get you hyped. However, consider this your spoiler warning if you are a spoiler sensitive person and would rather go into the second core blind. To give you some time to leave the video, remember that my Alicization Dividing giveaway is currently continuing for another 2 weeks, and I added some new entries for more chances to win Sword Art Online Volume 13 Alicization Dividing, so do check it out again if you already entered a while back. Also, if you want to get ahead of the anime and read the books for yourselves, so you can be blessed by the Goddess of Creation Stacia, Amazon and Book Depository affiliate links, whichever you prefer, are all in the description down below. Alright, that shameless plug should have taken enough time to act on my spoiler warning if you wanted no spoilers, so here we go with Trailer 3 Explained. The trailer itself is over a minute long, but the first half of it is essentially a Core 1 recap. The second half, however, kicks off the boss rush that will continue non-stop until the end of the second core. That part begins with one of Asuna's scenes from the first core, asking Kirito if he would return safe and sound. While I cannot answer her question though, the main focus of the second core is exactly that question, and that's the reason why we kick off the new contents of the trailer with that. Since episode 11, Kirito and Eugeo were really close to their goal, standing in the gardens of the central cathedral, on top of which Kirito assumed there would be an admin console to get him out of Underworld, or at the very least, contact Kikoka Seijiro in the real world to get some answers. But they still have a tower to rise through and a whole lot more backstory to be revealed. To start, we see tons of fight scenes, and yes, that is very representative of what the upcoming core is all about. An onslaught of fight scenes one after the other, so without seeing specific things in the room or the person being fought against, I can't be very specific regarding which fight it is. The first shot the new part opens up with is when Kirito is inside the central cathedral activating a sword skill, or maybe even his perfect weapon control, the one that is activated via a long chant followed by enhanced armament. I'd wager this is the second major fight against Fanatio Synthesis 2, the vice commander of the Integrity Knights, in what you may consider a series of twisting plot points constantly changing the balance of circumstances on the 50th floor of Central Cathedral, as are many scenes in this trailer are, based on the environment and actions of shots to follow. This is followed by some shots, what I assume to be the upcoming episode 13, where Kirito is hugging Cardinal after listening to the full story of our past, and the following bit where Cardinal is flying off in darkly lit halls is from that story that he listened to. As mentioned in my episode 12 explained video, the contents of the backstory is not yet over, and we will learn more about the pasts of both Quinella and Cardinal, and why Cardinal refers to her as something like a sister of some sorts, and of course Cardinal flying at full speeds here is how she ends up in the great library room that we saw in episode 12. Next up, we see a part of the synthesis ritual, as it's called, the creation of an Integrity Knight, as Quinella inserts a piety module to block their memories. And the person she is doing this to on the trailer here is someone you have seen before visually. It is part of the backstory visualization, so it has happened a long time ago. The person you see here is kind of a spoiler that is much better experienced blindly if you ask me, so it's fine if you wanna skip. In fact, I recommend that you skip before I tell you who he is. That's why I'm talking too much right now before clearly stating who this person is. Did you skip already? If you're still here, well, you really want to know then. Good. It's the founder of Rulid, the adventurer told in the legend of Berkuli, and the Northern White Dragon, the hero Eugeo looked up to, Berkuli himself becoming the very first Integrity Knight, Berkuli Synthesis 1. In fact, this was something I very vaguely hinted back in my episode 1 explained video, as Eugeo was telling that specific tale. Next up, we see multiple scenes as Kirito is fighting on the 50th floor of Central Cathedral against Fanatio, as well as one scene where Quinella falls down. Now chances are this Quinella scene is just the one from the end of episode 12. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if it actually was, but hey, this is an explained video here, so I'm gonna speculate that is actually from episode 13. You see, back in episode 5 and 6, a key detail was omitted from the anime that I mentioned in my explained series. Much like, let's say 32 GB of USB stick, our brain and the light cube devices used to store the floodlights are not endless sources of memory. They all have a limit as to the data they can hold. Based on certain theories, Kikoka and Wrath had assumed that the human brain had about enough storage for around 150 years of life, and humans would have issues if the average lifespan eventually got longer than that, and they designed the light cube devices in accordance to the real human mind with a similar limit. And well, even the in-underworld administrator is only assigned a single light cube in real life on the hardware side of things, and while she's technically the administrator, she is only so within the realm of Underworld and thus does not have rights to allocate herself more memory. And if you have already figured out immortality, well, memory limitations kinda become the next major issue at hand. But this scene is followed by the fight between Cardinal and Quinella. This moment is caused by the solution Quinella found to being fused with the prime directive of the Cardinal system to preserve the world. This is also the moment that Cardinal realized that she had a disadvantage on a single aspect, the same moment that Quinella realized she had the advantage on that one single aspect. This is likely to be followed up by the Cardinal flying scene I highlighted earlier as she reaches the Great Library Room. But next up we see Fanatio in full glory as the knight is activating its perfect weapon control, or perhaps even more, unlike Kirito in the previous scene, going as far as using its memory release skill with the command release recollection. And right after, we are once again on the 50th floor. This has to be Eugeo's sword being slammed into the ground, but it looks slightly more metallic here, which it shouldn't by any means. Bluro's sword is more or less an ice sword, so without going into technicalities, it should not look like an actual metal at all. But maybe they'll touch up on this, considering this is still probably 3 to 4 episodes away from us at the moment. But as he slams the sword into the ground, he shouts enhance armament and activates his own perfect weapon control, as they had planned a while ago when twist after twist was happening when they arrived at the room on the 50th floor through unexpected means. This is followed by Kirito and Eugeo looking at a light source, so this has to be either when they were getting ready to leave the library or right after the devastating events of floor 50 as an unexpected object comes closer and closer to them. And aside from the final shots of Cardinal and Kirito, this is pretty much it from the trailer. At the end, the poster for Cour 2 is shown once again, and boy oh boy, with context we got. If you don't want major spoilers, comment enhance armament to show you made it this far and leave now. Link to my Alicization dividing giveaway is in the description, as well as links to Alicization books on Amazon and Book Depository that support my channel at the same time. Are you still here? Good, we're moving on to the major spoilers, and I'll be very clear here. You share spoilers in the comments without providing a spoiler warning and a couple of blank lines, you will be removed. Simple as that, no mercy. But onto the poster. So it's pretty obvious that Eugeo is incredibly sad and conflicted, while Kirito is more focused and calm. This is the result of various questions in Eugeo's head, such as what he'll do if Kirito regains his memories, how is he gonna save Alice, can he even save Alice, as well as tying in with the influence of meeting with his all-time hero Berkuli as an integrity knight, and things Quinella does to him to manipulate him using his memories that were already tampered with about 8 years ago by somebody else. Kirito's attitude, however, is much more clearer. There are no doubts in his mind, he is fully aware of the situation. He either fights, thrives and resists, which is his only purpose at this point in Underworld, or dies, which he's still not sure if it would have any side effects on him, since he knows his memories are cut off shortly after leaving the Dicey Cafe. But more importantly to him, his death would also mean the end of Underworld and all the floodlights living inside. Obviously, Quinella is ruling over the poster here on top as a single entity, the administrator, who is followed by two separate entities, the real Quinella and Cardinal on two opposing sides. I really love the way the poster portrays the two sides of Quinella here, hidden in plain sight from those who did not yet read the novels or watch the 13th episode, depending on when you're watching this video. In the middle we see 5 Integrity Knights. From bottom left to right, it's L3 Synthesis 31, the knight that Kirito and Eugeo fought against in the Axiom Church Garden, followed by Fanatio Synthesis 2, the Vice Commander of the Integrity Knights, the knight we see Kirito and Eugeo fighting on the 50th floor in this trailer. The female knight is followed by 4 other knights, which makes the fight scene even more grand, and that's not even including all the events with Fizel Synthesis 28 and Linel Synthesis 29, who have their own entire backstories that involve around more fight scenes. Sadly, Fizel and Linel were not included in the poster, but moving on, the guy with the blue hair is Berkuli Synthesis 1, as I mentioned back at the beginning during that scene. He is the commander of the Integrity Knights and more or less Alice's mentor. And he is the proof that the Integrity Knights are not completely brainwashed and are actually aware of certain events and situations, who provides a more interesting dynamic towards the latter half of the second core. And to the most right, we see the same knight that we saw back in episode 1, as well as back in episode 12, Dusolbert Synthesis 7. Yes, he received a promotion since over 8 years ago and thus now has a red armor instead of white. However, his pinpoint accuracy with his bow in episode 12, shooting from his dragon, mirrored episode 1 when he shot the Dark Knight with the same accuracy and skill. He'll be the first one that Kirito and Eugeo will face when they enter the tower, and straight in the middle of the poster we got Alice Synthesis 30 in her shining golden armor. If you look carefully, it's not shadow on her face obscuring the face, it is a bandage that is wrapped around her right eye, and at this point you can probably make the connection yourself that I'm not gonna spell it out. But yeah, that's it from this trailer. I honestly love the new opening, Resistor by Asuka, which ties in perfectly with Kirito's attitude at the end of the core. Resisting is the only reason I'm here right now. But yeah, really looking forward to the second core, and if you made it this far listening to the major spoiler bits as well, comment release recollection instead. As always, huge thanks to my patrons who have been supporting me throughout, and Bob/Rex for his generous super chat the week before. Do subscribe for more on Sword Art Online and Alicization Explained, and I'll see you soon. Stay cool.